And while in New York, President Moon gave an interview to cable news giant Fox News in which he said both South and North Korea and the United States have the same idea when it comes to ending the Korean War. And as for the North's denuclearization, he said this latest push is different from those of the past. Shin Se-min reports.
Speaking to Fox News, President Moon Jae-in discussed the outcomes of diplomacy with North Korea. The president said the regime will in fact give up its nuclear weapons because the promise to do so comes from the very top of the regime's chain of command. He said that although many are skeptical about whether North Korea really will follow through, the latest agreements, including the one between leader Kim Jong-un and U.S. President Donald Trump, are different from those of the past. President Moon also spoke for Kim, whose promises, he said, to allow outside inspections of key nuclear test sites and to dismantle facilities are in sync with the U.S. policy of complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization, or CVID. The president also alluded to what the corresponding measures Pyongyang wants from Washington might be. He said they could be a formal declaration of ending the Korean War or humanitarian aid of some sort, maybe non-political exchanges like cultural networking or even setting up a U.S. liaison office in Pyongyang. And touching upon South Korea's ironclad alliance with Washington, the president added that officially ending the Korean War would not hamper the allies' strong connection. And speaking with a group of some 200 opinion leaders with close links to Korea issues, the president also shared his take on diplomacy with the North. He explained Kim Jong-un's point of view as expressed in their latest meeting in Pyongyang.
북한이 속임수를 쓰거나 또는 시간 벌기를 해서 도대체 북한이 얻을 수 있는 것이 뭐가 있겠는가? 만약에 그럴 경우에 미국이 강력하게 보복을 하게 될 텐데 그 보복을 북한이 어떻게 감당할 수 있겠는가? 그러니 이번에야말로 북한의 진정성을 한번 믿어달라.
The president's message here in New York is clear that the major regional players like the two Koreas and the U.S. have one clear goal in mind: opening up the era of everlasting peace and prosperity on the Korean Peninsula as a team by seeing through the denuclearization of North Korea and ending the decades-long Korean War. Shin Se-min, Arirang News, New York.